Hey everybody, welcome to episode 34 of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. As always, I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we've got a lot of board gaming stuff to talk about today, actually.
We do.
Well, you people have.
Yeah,
Yes.
poor Jeff had a weekend full of work, while Zach and I had a weekend full of gaming.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Have we just dropped?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, good.
I was having a hard time being creative with it, so no, we're dropping that aspect of our intro.
And we just keep getting better and better.
Quality abounds over here.
Anything to talk about the Broncos this week?
There's no Broncos news.
No?
Well, I mean, there is, but it's not good news, and it's not specifically related to actual on-the-field football, so I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care either.
Our star wide receiver, Manuel Sanders, is going through a really ugly divorce, and one of the things his wife accused him of is lying to the team and saying that he was taking a day off of practice for his son's birth, when really he went out and blew like $200,000 partying with a bunch of his side chicks.
Yeah.
So
that sounds like drama I want to know.
That's actually interesting.
I'm just ashamed.
Yeah.
Good times. So board games.
Yes, but on to board games.
On to board games. We had game night at Odyssey. Beer Works?
Odyssey Beer Works.
Yes.
Odyssey Beer Works.
Pretty tasty. We had a huge amount of people, too, which was nice.
Like 55, I think, was my highest count, and I count at random times, so I'm like, oh, I'm done with the game, let me count.
And we packed everything.
Oh, yeah.
And regular patrons were there trying to just drink. And we were like, no, we need to play board games. Go stand outside. And plenty of people did.
Yes.
I mean, we weren't quite, like, we're not that mean about it. Like, I was joking about being like that. Like, at one point, I was talking to somebody, and I was like, yeah, I really wish I could just, like, stand on a chair right now and be like, hey, if you're not here for board games, please move from the tables. Go stand around the bar or something.
I didn't know you were kidding about that. We did start pushing people out.
Oh.
Yeah.
So.
Started knocking beers out of their hands.
Yes. That's unfortunate.
Get the fuck out of here.
Just start playing a game on the corner of the table and just slowly, oh, could you slide over? I need to put this card here.
Yeah.
Just slide over a little more, slide over a little more. By the end of the night, as is usually the case, we had taken over 80% of the tables in the bar. And yeah, so then people would come in. Like, there were two guys who came in and they were wearing like construction t-shirts that were, because that was technically up in Arvada.
Construction t-shirts?
Their construction company t-shirt, like their work shirt.
Gotcha.
And it said like Arvada, something or other firm. And so like they were definitely local at that area. And he goes, what the hell? It's never this busy. And they just went, yeah, let's bail. And they walked right back out.
Nice.
It's like, I think that Odyssey is more than willing to lose out on two random, somewhat regulars who will probably be back anyway, who would have bought a couple beers and then left, to have 50 of us who sit there for 6 hours and I got real.
You don't know their business model.
I got real drunk.
Yeah, you did. It was definitely a hangover Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, real bad.
It wasn't too bad.
About 7 o'clock. So my work day starts at 6. I wake up at 5. I get to work at 6. Comes 7 o'clock. My burrito guy got there. He comes around to the different shops in Commerce City and sells like homemade burritos out of the back of his Taurus. They're delicious.
Right where burritos belong.
Yep.
But he has seldom been as welcome as he was. At that point, I was like, oh, God, I need something solid in my stomach or it's going to get real bad real fast. And so, yeah, it was a good night, though. Played a few games myself, not as many as I would have liked to. When it's busy like that, especially there were a lot of new people, so I was doing meet and greet and, talking to people and stuff.
Trying to include as many people as possible.
Being a host.
Instead of doing what's important.
The two servers were also slammed and couldn't hardly leave the bar.
Yeah.
So I was like making just constant laps through the brewery, coming back with like 10 glasses at a time to set on the bar.
It was really rude how you'd get glasses from us, but then wouldn't give us refills. So,
Yeah, you wouldn't take my order.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
I took your order once, Jeff, and I didn't even get a tip for it, so that was the end of that. If I'm going to bartend, I want a tip.
You get just
I mean, he did give you a tip. He's just like, he goes, Adrian, you look like shit.
God damn.
hot tip.
Hot tip.
With friends like these.
You look like garbage.
So actually, on to the games themselves. Jeff, what did you get to play at this amazing game night that we had?
I played Diamonds.
Yes.
Which is a trick-taking card game thing.
Yeah, you sound...
I don't know.
Zach, how about you elaborate on this a little bit?
This is more your genre.
Well, yeah, so it's a trick-taking game a la Hearts and Spades,
never
and
played.
so this is like Diamonds. Get it?
Oh,
Get it?
Now I do.
Now you get it? But it's basically a trick-taking game, but like you're all trying to get diamonds from this from the middle pile and moving them into your showroom and then into your vault.
Okay.
But you can steal diamonds from other people's showrooms. And the most interesting thing is usually, in a trick-taking game, someone plays a card, and then whatever suit it is, you have to follow them if you can, and whoever has the highest card wins. But if you throw offsuit in this, you get to do an offsuit action, which is like taking, if you place a diamond, you get to take a diamond and put it directly into your vault. If you place a heart, you get to take a diamond and put it directly into your showroom. If you play a club, you get to steal from somebody's showroom and put it in your own. And then if you play a spade, you get to take it from your own showroom and move it into your vault.
And this matters for points because everything in your showroom is worth 1 and everything in your vault is worth 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So you double your points.
And your vault can't be stolen from.
Exactly.
So once you get them in your vault, they're safe.
Secure.
Yeah.
I really like it. I'm not a big trick-taking card player. I've never played hearts or spades or anything like that. I like how this one seems more gamey with all the different actions you can do when you win the trick.
Yeah, because usually it's, when you're like, I'll just throw my lowest thing or whatever. But it's like he's winning clubs right now, so he's going to take. This actually happened to me the first time I played it. We did spade and everybody did clubs and just stole all of my diamonds in my showroom, so I couldn't take anything, because if you win the trick, you also get to do the suit action as well.
Yeah.
I didn't have any diamonds to move from my showroom and put into my vaults because it just stole all of them. I was like, you sons of bitches.
Your roommate was doing nothing but stealing from you the entire game.
It was
no matter how
really
vital
annoying.
it was, he would always steal from Zach at all times.
And convinced a good amount of people to join him in that. Did not end well.
I think one of the
your roommate more and more the more I hear about how much he fucks with you.
Yeah.
he knows.
Yep.
He just knows. The kind of hook to it, it's not just like a deck of cards, it's just clubs. It's the suits 1 through 15.
Yep.
And having that high card is basically guaranteed you win that. So it depends on timing on when you want to play your high cards.
Exactly.
And, things like that. I had a lot of fun. I think the score was 40, 39, 38, 36, 29 or something.
And then 18 with my roommate.
So the stealing from you strategy didn't go well for him.
No, it did not.
I won by a point.
You did. So the only, I've played this with 4 people and I've played this with 6 people. For one, with 6 people, it takes a while.
Yeah, I could see that.
But you use every card.
But you use every card. So when you're playing with 4 people, you're only using 40 cards instead of 60. So there are 20 cards you're not playing with. Because technically, you could just play with and because you shuffle it, the 20 cards you don't, that could be all the spades in there. You don't even know.
Yeah.
So it creates a bit of variability in that respect of, say you have a bunch of spades, but then nobody else has any spades. So anything you do, they're just going to keep throwing offsuit and throwing wrenches in your plans and helping them.
Yeah. I thought it was a fun little game.
Yeah.
6-player might be a little long.
Yeah.
But I had fun. It was fun.
Cool.
And then I played Dark Overlord for the first time.
Finally got him to play that.
Holy shit, I love that game.
I was real good at that game.
Yeah.
I had some good stories.
That doesn't surprise me, actually. I think I could see you being great at that game.
I played a lot of D&D, so...
Yeah. We had a decent amount of new people playing it too, so I was like, all right. I don't really like being the Overlord as much because, my character in that is always a goblin who is barely smart enough to breathe. He's just the suit, and the fact that you try and give him any sort of charge is almost your fault. That's usually the go-to for that one. So I was the Overlord this time, and I tried to give marks to people, a lot of people not trying to focus on one people, trying to get people to talk to different, having all the players play basically.
Right.
And the one cool thing about this game, it's a storytelling game.
Yes.
100%.
You just have to make a story out of 3 cards with images on them to try and make it so the Overlord doesn't try and kill you because you failed at whatever so-and-so mission was. Mm-hmm. I just happen to have a lot of cards that happen to do well with each other.
Yeah,
that's helpful. Although it can be funny too when you have completely unrelated things and you find really unique, fun ways to link them.
Yeah.
The only downside I had was you the pointy cards to say fuck this other person.
Pass the blame.
Pass the blame cards. Yes, I ended up with just a bunch of interrupt ones and no pass the blame, and I got pass the blame, and all I had to do was I just had to keep talking until.
And then I was like, so you're not going to do it? He's like, I don't have any. I'm like, all right. Give him that's the only, and then so basically I just told everybody is if you only have 3, to start with, I'll let you draw 1 extra one. If you're like, I don't have any of those, I'll let you do one draw, mercy draw, just so people don't get stuck in that.
Yeah.
But basically my go-to was if anybody tried to imply that I couldn't do something, it did not end well.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's what you mean? I made a mistake? No.
It ended. I think it was with my roommate. Yes, yeah, it was with my roommate. He implied that I had the ability to be stupefied in that game. And I was like, you think that I could?
No.
What are you talking about?
I was standing there for that
Yeah.
part. That was a really good part of the game.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's one of those games that it's more fun when more people get into it. I do have a couple games like that I've never played: Machine of Death and Story War.
Okay.
That are both pretty similar. That are just plain up, straight up story games.
Gotcha.
I couldn't
I've never really
imagine
tried.
playing that game, like having 8 people come over to the house and playing that. Like I couldn't imagine doing it there. But like doing it at like a game night or a con when people's like seem to be more willing to step outside of their shell and like there's like at a game night you have booze that helps our game nights. You have booze that helps like kind of let people let their guard down, inhibitions, they can kind of get into that kind of a storytelling game and be ridiculous. Or like at a con where people just seem to be in that mindset a little bit more.
Yeah.
Those games are great.
It is, yeah. And for this one, it's basically like having the person who's played the most be the Overlord is probably best because they can keep. Like, if I saw people starting to bicker with each other, I was like, you need to stop doing that or you're both getting looks or,
Yeah. So it's a really good game.
Yeah,
We're probably going to
just got to re-release.
Yeah. Green and
green in the red box.
green and red.
Orangish.
Yeah.
Whatever. The red that's not red. But that's something that we've had a request to kind of review a group of those types of games. So we're working on that.
Yeah.
It'll be coming around.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yep.
I didn't really play much at game night. Like I said, I was running around, and Zach
And I
played.
played
the
games with
same
Jeff
thing
the
as
entire
Jeff.
So played the same games.
Fortunately, however, for variety and interesting discussion on the show, Zach and I went to GhengisCon this weekend.
It's the 40th year of it.
40th anniversary of GhengisCon. It's
Oh my god.
yeah.
I had no idea it was like
it's old.
It's old.
veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Con.
It has a lot of RPG and like some video game aspects to it. Too.
Yeah.
Gen Con used to have a lot more video game stuff.
Yeah, they've toned it down. They've shifted much more board game. Whereas this one, like board games were present, but I definitely got the distinct vibe that it was something people did in between their other events. Like people were doing mainly RPG stuff or like con game stuff, or there was some cosplay. There was a few other like social events and things.
What's the attendance look like at GhengisCon, number wise?
I think it
So
was like
they-
600 or something like that.
The last I had seen, I believe they'd sold 600 of 1,000 available weekend badges.
Okay.
The numbers were down, so which is super unfortunate. We've got a pretty good. It's a good con. It's a big con. 1,000 people is nothing to bat an eye out.
Yeah.
If they had 1,000 people, which they didn't, and they've been going for 40 years. It sucked to see a 40-year-old con go under. So we'll see.
We'll see what the next couple of years do.
We're running into that with Conclave. Conclave.
Yeah, he
is,
didn't do it this year, so
Yeah, he didn't do it this year. So, but he came out and said that he's going to try and do it in the fall. But I have it on pretty good authority that there's a chance it'll happen in the fall if somebody buys it from him.
well, that's a busy time.
Yeah.
Can't be easy to run a con.
No.
But yeah, so luckily there's still Heavy Con. There's also still some gaming at like Comic Con and stuff like that. But Denver cons unfortunately seem to be waning a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. But we went and we played games. So let's talk about that. Let's
did.
focus on the positives.
You were able to
All
play.
right, so we're going to focus on the positives by first focusing on a negative for Adrian. One quick thing that we played was the Podracing game, which is a convention game.
Oh yeah, there was
It's-
that caution one.
Yeah.
time.
He mentioned that. He didn't mention Caution specifically, but he was talking about a time they played it at a bar and it was a lot of fun. And I was like, that was totally at our game night.
So this one is just basically, it's not even a racing game as much as a betting game.
Okay.
Because you're...
Press your luck.
Yeah,
It's a
basically,
press your luck betting
you're not Anakin, you're Watto. Basically, so that's how.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's press your luck. There is a little bit of dice, and it's a convention game. It's all about getting in the atmosphere because
Yep.
you're playing 12 plus
Cheering
people.
and-
Yeah, exactly. The betting is all weird, or it's definitely not like normal betting in the sense, but it's just about getting into the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean the betting's not that off from normal betting. Like there's pretty standard odds. Somebody bets that that they can do it, and then people have the opportunity to bet against them. Like basically, anytime your racer is going to do something that's tricky, you have the option like, are you going to attempt this? Yes. Do you want to bet that you'll succeed? And you'd be like, yes, and you put your bet out.
Trixie.
Trixie. And so then everybody else has a chance to bet against you, and you'll roll to attempt whatever thing you're attempting. And if you succeed, you get the money of everyone who bet against you, and the bank matches your bet.
Okay, so it's like a big crowd of people all betting against each other and like throwing money around, and
I
the
guess
chicken cuts the other chicken's head off, and
if you lose, then your money goes to the bank, and then the bank pays everybody who bet against you.
Yeah.
Now it works in this one, it would be a terrible business model if it was an actual casino. Because everybody started out with 10 money, and by the end of it, there were people like 30, 40,000 money.
holy shit.
Yes.
So the bank pays out a lot.
Ant ended before he decided to just burn it all, basically. He was at 38,000. I guess in the sense of like people were like, you weren't trying to be strategic with your...
You were trying to have fun.
Well,
yeah.
So I was the first player in this, and I didn't realize how some of the mechanics worked. So I got a good roll and a good start, so I jumped way out in front. And then everybody else knew the rules and pressed their luck and ended up starting to slowly pass me. Like two people way past me. And then like somebody came around and smashed me from behind, and I blew up like in one turn. Like I didn't get to go a second turn, which sucked.
Well, don't die.
But because you're not the racer, you're the bettor, all of the money I had accrued to that point, I could still bet with. So I was trying to bet smart and like actually get money. But the problem is every time you kill a racer, you get a bounty. There's random cards that deal out money to the leaders of the race. Like there's so many other ways that money comes into that game aside from smart betting that I should have just walked away the second I lost. Like the second I blew up, I should have just turned in my last $100 or $200 that didn't end up mattering.
Yeah.
And went and played a solo game.
Yeah. But we knew that he wasn't going to like it beforehand.
Yeah, so. I really didn't want to play. I only played because
all three of
everybody else wanted to play or seemed to want to play.
Yeah.
I mean, all those games can be hit or miss. They're convention games.
Yeah.
They're people.
I mean, it's even built in that your pod racer blows up on the start. So
you can in theory not get if you roll back to back. So the first on the starting line, if you roll a 1, your pod stalls and you get turned sideways, and everybody else goes. And then on the next go around, if you roll a 1 again, your pod blows up and you're just out.
So like I said, it's built into the game to be that sort of thing. So a lot of people really liked. I enjoyed it enough.
The social environment aspect of it, I did enjoy.
Yeah.
I think that I could see what he was saying, like at a bar kind of event, especially we had like 10-year-old kids, not that young. We had some young kids, and he said at the beginning, like, don't swear. So I spent the entire game biting my tongue. Like, because I have a really fucking hard time not fucking swearing.
Yeah.
No way.
So we played that, but then we also played King's Cribbage off the recommendation of Patrick from what did we
play this week?
Yes.
What did you play this week? WDY.
I played King's Cribbage. That's
what I did.
That's what I did. Yeah. So this one is like they take Cribbage and try and meld it with Scrabble. And oh man, I played Vinhos earlier. And my head hurt more after playing King's Cribbage.
Nice.
I was surprised. We were busting it out, and I thought it was going to be just
a quick little game,
a quick little silly game. It was a surprisingly brain burny. Like, because if somebody we bought it for $5.
Yep.
Like, I was not expecting a whole lot, other than the fact that Patrick did say it was a lot of fun and recommended it to us because we love Cribbage. But yeah, it surprised me. Like, it was like, oh man, I've got like these 4 tiles. What can I do? And you're looking all around to like, how can I mix them in to get the most points? And for most of the game, I felt like Zach was crushing me. And I ended up coming back, and we had a 246 to 246 tie. It was glorious.
Yeah.
How long was that game?
It took like 30 minutes, 37 minutes.
It wasn't that long,
Yeah.
but it felt longer than it was.
Yeah, because we were just looking at this entire thing. We're like, oh god,
what do I do?
Yeah, because if you add on to anything, as long as you contribute to a cribbage score, you basically just get the entire hand again.
Okay.
Same thing with like word scores in cribbage or in Scrabble.
Like adding an S and then snake.
I've never played Scrabble.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Anyway, so that was King's Cribbage.
Yes.
Then we played, like Zach said, some Vinhos before that. I beat him by 2 points. It was a close game.
It's
you
better
like it more than Gallerist.
It's better than Gallerist because it has a finite endpoint of 12 rounds.
So for Zach, that's not a high bar to set. For me, I also have to say I like it more than Gallerist, and that's a significantly higher bar because I really, really like Gallerist.
I thought Gallerist was fun.
Yeah.
Vinhos looks blue.
No, that's Lisboa.
Lisboa. Okay. Different game.
Vinhos is the
looks green.
Art
the wine,
on it, I think, is a little bit better than
green and purple.
But you got them because of Lisboa.
Yes,
Okay.
I got that all as
That's
part
where
of
it is.
one giant.
Yep.
several $100 Kickstarter. But unlike Zombicide, where I don't feel like I'll play a lot of that and a lot of it just sits in a giant tub and takes up space, these games I actively love and want to play. Yes, along with some of your Season 1 promos.
Yeah, Vinhos is basically just a super heavy Euro about making wine.
And Gallerist is a super heavy promo about...
Super heavy promo, yep.
super heavy game about running an art gallery. Woo!
Yep.
And Lisboa is a super heavy game about rebuilding the city of Lisboa.
Yep.
That's Vital's games. Is a super heavy Euro game about blank.
Yep.
So, still love Vinhos, but...
Yep.
Yeah.
I finally got a chance to play RoboRally. And this was with the Avalon Hill edition?
Yes.
Not the new one. I don't know who owns it.
I don't either.
Yeah, with the new rules and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, we didn't have that. It was a 7-player match. And so we just did the beginner one square.
It wasn't a beginner one.
Well, it was just a one square.
It was a small one square
small map.
but-
It was a small map.
Easy map.
Yes.
No lasers and...
No, there were lasers. It was a medium
There
map.
were lasers. There were lasers.
It was a medium map for a short game with 4 to 8 players.
Yep.
So it was appropriately sized and difficult. It certainly wasn't one of the beginner maps or anything like that.
So if people remember...
So you programmed.
Yes, if people remember from Mechs versus Minions, Adrian liked this one, RoboRally, because
lot.
it's competitive. And he didn't like that one. But he did like the programming aspect.
Yes.
So this one is a lot more fluid in its programming, in a sense, because every turn you're redoing.
Yeah, but you program like 6, 7 moves depending on your damage
Yes.
level. So you're programming a lot of moves.
Yes, but it is chaos.
Yeah.
It is super chaotic. The thing I didn't realize is that after every movement, your robot shoots a laser at somebody.
Yes.
And so much damage was being taken. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So for those of you who may not know, the basic idea of RoboRally is if you remember the old show BattleBots, it's strikingly similar
that
to
old.
that. BattleBots is like over a decade old at this point. It's got to
I'm
be.
sure it's old, but it's not like old.
Yeah.
Over a decade.
It's not like I Love Lucy old.
Well, yeah, okay, clearly.
Yeah,
would you say American
Quit calling things I grew up with old.
Would you say American Gladiator is old? Because
Yeah, because that happened probably before I was born.
no, those are roughly the same age. Those have got to be close.
No.
Wrong again, Adrian.
I remember both of those distinctly as a child.
I mean, there might have been
Some overlap
reruns
on the tail
There was
end.
definitely
maybe, I don't
American
know.
Gladiators reruns on USA Network that I watched regularly.
Okay, so it was reruns for American. To me, they're in the same time frame because I remember watching them roughly the same time as a
89 to
child.
96 for American Gladiators.
Okay.
The Google is Googling. Yeah, August 30th, 2000 to December 21st, 2002.
Yep. I remember that.
Shit, I thought there was
Comedy Central?
Yes.
I thought there was significantly more overlap, and I didn't realize it was Comedy Central. Anyway,
RoboRally.
so if you remember BattleBots, that's not as old as I thought it was.
It is still 17 years old.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's almost old enough to vote.
Almost.
But anyway, if you remember BattleBots, it's a similar premise. You are all different little remotely controlled robots that have lasers, and the difference is you're not just trying to kill each other. There's actually flags that you're trying to hit in order, and the first one to hit all the flags wins, or in some cases, the last one standing wins.
Yep.
This one was dangerously close to being the last one standing.
It
wins.
was. So I ended up, because basically you have 3 lives in there. And so like when you take the 9 damage or whatever it is, you lose a life. Or if you fall off the map, you lose a life. And I was on my last lap, and somebody pushed me 1, and then I basically went into an infinite loop in front of a laser. So I was just in front of a
sounds like
laser.
RoboRally.
Yeah, I was in front of a laser forever until I died.
Meanwhile, so at one point, I was approaching the first flag, and there was a robot to my left right against the edge. And then there was a robot a space away from me. And the robot a space away from me moved 3 spaces and pushed me and the other robot off. And then a little bit later on, it moved around, and there were 2 robots between me and the edge. And I had messed up my programming. And so I went 3 spaces, pushed both of them off the edge, and I went off the edge. That one killed me for good and killed one of the other robots for good. By the end of the game, out of 7 robots, I think there were 3 still alive.
Yep.
It was brutal. It was great.
I don't know if I've ever played that many players in RoboRally. It's only ever been like 4, 5.
It was pretty ridiculous.
It is best, I think, with like 6 and up.
The only problem with that is the
board
time
crowded.
starts. The time definitely starts to the
Now
length.
this is where, and so like, unfortunately, so it was the 4 of us who went from our game night group: Zach, I, Ant, and Paul. That was a really bad phrasing of English.
It really was.
Zach, Ant, Paul, and I went, and it was the 4 of us. And then it was, I believe, a mom and her 2 like teenage sons.
Yeah.
And she had a broken hand. And so like Ant was pushing for the first player to finish their thing, flips the timer, and then everybody else has the 30-second, 60-second timer
30 seconds
to finish. And she was like, I have a broken hand. I can barely hold my cards. I'm not doing that.
Yep. So everybody else did it except for her.
More or
Yeah.
less, yeah. Especially like midway through. Like the first couple rounds, people weren't as into it. But then even her kids started to get into it. Like, oh, yeah, this puts pressure. It's a lot funnier when like my robot does ridiculous things because I ran out of time.
It's great because there are a lot of times where I was like, because somebody got a power that basically instead of doing damage, they could just lock things.
Uh-huh.
So I had my entire thing locked. And I was like, okay. And we start. I flip over my timer. We're done.
Yeah. I had some friends that played when like you took damage, you took time off of your own personal timer. So the more damage you took, the less time you had to put things down, to the point where you had like 10 seconds.
Damn.
If you had enough damage to do your entire turn.
Okay.
It was interesting.
I enjoyed it. I can't say if I liked it. I think time-wise, I didn't like it as much as Mix, but I still enjoyed it.
It's a very different game.
Yes.
But yeah.
The programming is pretty much the only similar thing in that game.
I mean, and they're robots.
Except in Mechs vs. Minions, you're the person on the robot.
You're the person controlling the robot, and this one you're the person controlling the robot.
You're actually represented in Mechs vs. Minions as a person riding like a... It's a mech. It's not a robot.
Zach's right.
There's a difference.
Zach wins.
Hate you guys.
The robot's Morty.
Yeah.
But no, so like... So like Zach mentioned...
The minions, they're robots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like...
Blood.
Like metaphorically.
Metaphorically, the minions are robots.
Whenever anybody wonders why the show runs long,
It's a good reference.
it's a great reference. It really is.
He's just mad he can't
Every time
cut
I
it out now.
flamethrower a minion in Mech vs. Minions, I just want to say they're robots, Morty. Metaphorically.
They're bureaucrats. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like Zach mentioned at the start of this, we had done Mechs vs. Minions, and I preferred RoboRally because it was competitive. But those were the only 2 programming games I'd played until later in the con. Zach picked up Dragon and Flagon, and we played 2 different games of that.
We did.
And holy shit, that game is a lot of fun too. So it is now very clear 2-to-1 that I like programming games that are competitive versus programming games that are cooperative. So I think that seems to be, for me, the distinction.
Yeah, he just can't get along with people. He just has an innate need to destroy them.
I do not like people.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever met me can attest I'm not friendly at all. Not the
worst.
I'm not a personable human being at all.
Nope.
Yeah, so Dragon and Flagon was a lot of fun. So that game, for those of you who may not be aware, it's a tavern brawl. There are as many as 8 characters in this tavern, and there's tables and chairs and mugs, and in the center of the board's a dragon and flagon.
Yep.
And you essentially program a couple moves for your character, and they're standard D&D archetypes. There's a rogue, a sorceress, a druid, a paladin, a cleric, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody has a deck of cards that you can look through. 4 or 5 of them are unique. And then you have one super special power that you get if you can ever get to the flagon in the center.
Yep.
But you play these cards to move around and attack the other players. And when you attack people, you steal reputation.
Reputation, yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody starts with 20, and it's a closed economy. And so every time if I steal 2 from Zach, then I have now 4 more than Zach. And then it just goes around stealing for this. And every card you play has a time value on it that represents how far along the time track on the outer board, almost like a score track in other games, you move. So if I play a really big attack, it might take 3. And so I move 3 spaces. Well, then if Zach does 2 one-time attacks, he gets to do a couple things between my big attack.
Yep.
And yeah, you just run around and smash things and kick
Yeah,
barrels.
you can pick up. Yeah, you can push barrels into people. You can pick up chairs and throw them at people. Push tables into people. The barbarian can literally flip a table at somebody. Yank rugs against anyone standing on there just falls down and stuff like that. It's a pretty ridiculous game.
Yeah.
When we did Pandepic at GenCon, wasn't that right across the hall?
Yes,
Okay.
it was. We saw Stephen Bonacore there.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about Dragon and Flagon.
Yes, we are.
So Zach, what do you think of Dragon and Flagon?
I enjoyed it. So the first time we played with 4 people, and when you do 4 people, everyone controls 2 characters.
Okay.
Because you want to have a lot of interaction. And
It's a bar fight.
Yeah, that felt like, I think it works best with 5 or more.
Okay.
Because when it just takes too much time for people to figure out all their turns and stuff like that when they're
It's supposed to be a little more chaotic.
yeah,
and
exactly.
Quick.
And it just felt better that you had less control over the entire room, basically.
Okay.
There are some ridiculous moments. I was able to get on a table and then swing and knock 3 people down.
Okay.
And it's just been it's a ridiculous game. That's
Sounds like fun.
So the swing action is one that everybody has as one of their base actions. I was the pirate in the first game, and he has a second swing action that's R that can swing like diagonal. Mm-hmm. And so there was a series where I chained together 2 swings. So I swung like R diagonally, knocked over 2 people, and then the very next turn that I could go, I swung straight and kicked over like 2 more people. It was so just imagine this buccaneer pirate swinging around from the rafters, kicking people in the head. It's a lot of fun.
So one other thing on this is that if you get dazed, a lot of your actions can daze people. If you say you get dazed for 2, you have to immediately put down 2 more actions. The next 2 actions you're going to do. So you're like, oh god,
swinging.
Yeah, you're just like, oh god, I don't know what's going to happen. And so there are a lot of times when someone's like trying to push a table, but they're like two spaces away from a table because someone else just pushed it away. And then so whenever you get an action that's canceled, that you just move time up 1. But it's always it's funny. Just imagine them just going, like trying to push it, but they just
Doesn't
there's
exist.
nothing there. Yeah.
The second game we played, we picked up Eld, who's come to game night before. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's been at game night before.
Yeah.
I recognized him.
He was there last week. So
Was he there
yeah.
last week? Okay. And then there was a new guy who I'd never seen before, but when I was asking Eld to join, he was like, oh, if you guys don't mind waiting a little bit, I'd love to join. So we waited, and he joined. And at one point, he was playing a monk, and he stepped in front of the table that had a mug on it. And then he, on his next 2 actions that he chose this, he kicked the table away from him and then went to pick up the mug that was now a space further away. It was like, yeah, didn't think that through, did you?
No. Yeah.
He did not win.
He had 0 reputation at the end.
He was,
I actually somehow got 2nd place out of that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an enjoyable game. It's going to be a great game night game, I think.
Oh, yeah. So I vaguely disagree with you, Zach, a little bit. You said you think it's better with 5 and up.
Uh-huh.
I think that I would probably want to cut out 5 or 6. I'd say it's best at 7 or 8 because there's a lot of people on the board. Otherwise, I'd still want to play 4 because I think that the additional downtime between each person controlling 2 players is worth having a packed house in the game. Like having all 8 characters. Like I want to see 7 or 8 people in that building. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to be as fun.
I can see that.
Overwhelmingly preferred at 6 players.
Yeah, see, I don't...
You haven't played it at 6.
I haven't played it at 6. I played it at 7. I did like it at 7 more than 4 players controlling 2
Yes.
each.
Yeah.
I agree there, but I feel like I would rather play 4 than 5 and have 8 instead of 5 in the building, in the tavern.
Yeah, I would say 7 is 2nd place, but it's literally 85% versus 28%.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could see that, honestly.
Not a lot of vote counts, but
But yeah, a lot of fun. Really enjoyed Dragon and Flagon.
underrated game of the year.
Yep. So, 2 games I want to talk about real briefly, and because we're running a bit long, I'm going to cut them pretty short. We were going to play a 4-era game of the Colonists on Sunday.
Does it
That
come
was the
with
plan.
a gun with 1 bullet?
It does not.
It needs it.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I was having fun. I was steadily falling further and further behind. Paul was having a blast. He also won. Zach, I don't know. How were you feeling about it?
I was fine, but when you were like, maybe we just don't play it.
So we got to the end of Era 2, and we set up everything for Era 3, but Aunt and Julie were there, and they were about to leave if we weren't going to play something else. So we decided we'd take a break from the Colonists, step away, let our brains refresh. We played the 7-player game of Dragon Flagon, which took 2 hours.
Yeah, well, we had 30 minutes basically to set up, and then waiting for some people, and then explaining.
And then it still took almost 2 hours to play. It took like a 2.5 hour break in our day, which I wasn't expecting. When I thought we'd take a break and play Dragon Flagon, I was expecting like an hour and a half. By the time we came back to Colonists, I had lost desire to finish. It was late enough in the evening, I didn't want to do that. And so we discussed it for a little bit and decided to just score it there, especially since we had all played anticipating 4, so we weren't going for like end game closing point stuff yet.
Yep.
We were going for engine building, thinking we had 2 more eras. And it was still a pretty close game. Zach came in second with 95. Paul won at 97, like I mentioned earlier.
98.
98. And I had a gentleman's 80. So I was falling behind and probably would have continued to fall behind in Colonists. I still really love that game. I would be willing to play a 3-player 4-era game. I would prefer to play a 2-player 4-era game, I think.
I can see that.
But really like it. Definitely want to get it to the table more often. And then the other game I want to talk about was my only purchase of the con. I had a chance to pick up At the Gates of Loyang, which is a new VE that I've wanted for a while. And so I picked it up, did a brief look at the rules after I got knocked out of that pod racing game Saturday night, watched a rule video Rado runs through Sunday morning, and then we played that after we bailed on Colonists. We set up and played At the Gates of Loyang. It's an Uwe game. As described in the manual, it's the game for people who really love the plowing strategy in Agricola. So basically, you have a bunch of fields that you get to plant, and they fill up with crops, and then you harvest crops each round, and you're trying to feed customers, and you can build market stalls and helpers and things. I really wanted to go into it more, but we're running quite long on time already. So
That's what happens when you go to a convention.
If you want, you can just get another play of it and then talk about it.
Yeah, so I'll talk more about this in the future because I definitely want to play it more. I really liked it. That was At the Gates of Loyang. And the last thing I want to touch on as we're wrapping up, for me, the absolute highlight of this con was in the midst of that Gates of Loyang game. The con was winding down, and it was pretty much us and this other table that was playing Mare Nostrum, and they'd been playing another game of it when we were playing Dragon Flagon. They moved over to a different table. We're playing, and this gentleman from over there, he comes by, and he goes, excuse me, guys. I think I heard some podcasters over here. and Zach and I are like, what?
Yeah.
And then
like,
he goes,
who do we sound like that sounds like podcasters?
And he goes, you're the Mile High Game guys, right? Adrian, Zach?
Yeah.
We're like, yeah. And he's like, I love your show. This is amazing. And like, was excited to actually get to meet us. And we were kind of blown away that somebody recognized our voices and talked to us in the middle of the show. So his name's Mike. He lives here in town. He paints really, really awesome minis.
That he does.
He had his scythe there that was immaculately painted and looked amazing. He had a 3D printed Catan that was painted really nice. And then his Mare Nostrum set was a Kickstarter edition with a huge play mat, and he had went through and hand painted all the pieces for that, and they also looked really, really good. So yeah, that for me was the highlight.
Our first wild fan.
Yep.
So it was awesome and humbling, and kind of makes me.
His head got so fucking big after that.
he walked away after talking to us, and we kind of sit back down to start playing, and Zach and I were playing on one side of the table, Paul was on the other, and Paul kind of looks at both of us. He goes, "You're going to be unbearable about this, aren't you?" We're like, "You sure are." So that was awesome.
It was.
Greg was there, who also does a lot of mini painting,
Yep.
and so Greg and Mike got to talk about mini painting a little bit, and it was awesome. Definitely for me, the highlight of the con.
Yep.
So
yeah.
thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks.
Remember to thin down your acrylics.
Maybe. I don't know enough about painting.
You sure don't.
Weigh in.
He's seen your no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Zombies suck. They're fine. You suck.
Friends like these.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, Bloody Minute?
Yeah, there was no Blood Bowl played by myself. Ant and I's game will be in time for the next one. As of this recording, Ant is destroying Paul, who he has addicted to Blood Bowl at this point. They had their first game last week with some starter teams, and Paul destroyed Ant. Ant is now currently destroying Paul's Lizardmen on Fumble. He has killed 3 of his players right now,
Yep.
which is insane.
Ant beat Paul while Zach and I were playing Vinhos.
I mean, you know what they say: the first high is always the best. So
It's true.
addicted.
Yeah.
So
He's going to chase that Blood Bowl dragon for the rest of his life.
exactly.
Correct.
Is there an actual dragon that you can have in Blood Bowl?
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Dragonkin or something like that.
No, not really.
Okay.
Not a lot of dragons. But that's about it. There's going to be a tournament March 11th at the Total Escape Games. We got like 12 coaches-ish still, and that'll be super fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
So stay tuned for that. That's going to be the Kroc Encore Open, and we'll have more information as that approaches, since Ant is running it, and he's a good friend of the show, so we
Yeah.
will happily shill for him.
Indeed. Creator of Pantepic.
Yes. So, and brewer of good beer. Well, not brewer. Ager of good
No,
beer.
Age.
blender.
Blender of good beer.
Some would say barrel overlord.
Yeah.
Some would say.
Some would. On
Any-
news.
any-
How about those news?
How about
On
that
to some news.
Newsy
Let's
McNews
blast
news.
through this news.
There are some new time stories that have been announced.
Yep. They look cool.
Not much details, but like 2 or 3 new ones that are going to come out over the next year.
They showed the back of them, and the art looks nice.
Yeah.
So
All the art.
yes. Well, and they all look in that unique way that they
Yeah.
each have.
yeah.
So
We're falling rapidly behind on time stories.
I
We need
did
to
buy
play
the
it some
newest
more.
one though.
Oh, awesome.
So whenever
so
we
we've
did-
got 2.
Yeah, we've
that
got
we
2
need
to go
play.
through
We've
now.
got
Cool.
Now we just have to wait 5 months for Megan to get back and then continue on.
Correct. So no, she'll be back sometime over a weekend in her trip, and
Gotcha.
we'll play some then and start moving along with it.
The Thing Infection at Outpost 31, coming from USAopolis'
Yep.
new licensed division called Project Raygun. I guess they're going to have properties and try and throw some real good art on them.
I believe they are the ones that did Hogwarts Battles,
sounds
the
right.
deck building game,
Yeah.
the Harry Potter deck building game.
Yeah.
So I think that was their first foray into it. It was really popular, and so
Well, they sort of just movie licensed things in there. I
yeah,
think.
Yeah. So the basic thing that we heard about this game is it's supposed to be kind of a hidden role social deduction type game, which my immediate response as somebody who loves the original John Carpenter's The Thing, I really hope they make a good game out of this. I hope it's not just like a kind of lame resistance secret Hitler style game like that.
Vote and-
I feel like that's been done and done well enough that we don't need another one in it that's just The Thing skinned.
I hope that is not like Dark Moon, which I read somewhere that was basically The Thing already as a board game. So
Yeah.
looking over it, basically, yeah, it just takes place on Titan, but it's basically the same sort of thing. And
Alien.
Yeah, and it's more of a game. So
Okay.
Yeah, so I really hope it's something actually unique and good and does justice to the glorious work of art that is John Carpenter.
now it's going to look good because I know they said they want it to look good.
Yeah,
So
they want to put some nice art on there.
Yeah.
As we all know, I have enjoyed Age of Steam and Tramways, so I don't care about the art. I care about the gameplay mechanics behind it. I want it to be a good game.
I know,
don't care
but
if it looks great.
I would care if it was a Thing game and it looked like stick figures.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
It's pretty fresh.
Yep.
New Eldritch Horror expansion is coming.
Yes. Damn it.
Yawn.
I haven't even played this one or the last one.
The whole theme of this one is like apocalypse, like city level destruction.
Yes, there's like disaster cards, tsunamis and stuff.
Oh, great. So more things that come up and you're like, hey, roll a bunch of dice. Oh, you lost and bad things are happening to you now.
So as I was reading through, it's sort of only if you only really use that if you use this specific old one.
Yep.
So it doesn't really throw anything into the base game.
And it's like, oh, a tsunami hit Tokyo. So it's
but
only,
then now there's like a new deck of like now the cultists are swarming over Tokyo and you have to try and like help survivors and things like that. So there's a new like event deck you can draw through like destroyed cities.
Yeah.
Like a fire tornado destroys Sydney or Arkham is destroyed.
yeah.
Which looked cool.
Yeah,
in
it
the
does.
card art.
It does look really good. You know how I'm not looking at you, Adrian, because
Jeff is, because he's waiting for me to say something snarky.
No, I'm
I'm
just-
not going to. I don't care for
Yeah.
Arkham or Eldritch, And so
I know. I was just looking at Jeff to be like,
if I don't have something nice, I don't say anything
exactly.
at
That's
all.
why I wasn't looking at you, because I know you're not going to say anything.
The disasters seem interesting enough to support another expansion.
Cool.
It's not a big box expansion.
No, it's a small one.
It's a small one.
All right. Next.
The big news is we've all seen the front of Pandemic Legacy Season 2 box. Now we've seen the rear of the Pandemic Legacy Season 2 box.
And have a sort of gist
shit.
of how it starts out.
There's some...
It looks good.
Yeah, so there's no spoilers for Season 1 at all in this. I don't think there's any remote reference, even on the back of the box. People were complaining, like, it's ruining Season 1. Not really.
The only thing that it says, and I don't think this is ruining it all, so I have no problem saying it. You know, there's
Unless
not.
you don't want to read the back of the box of Season 2.
All it says is that 70 years ago there was a massive outbreak and it kicked humanity's ass,
In a week.
which I think is a pretty fair description of the loose idea behind Season 1. It doesn't tell you any of the detail of Season 1 or how it plays out.
I would say it's a loose detail of any game of Pandemic if
Yes.
you lost.
Exactly.
There is no reference to any events that actually happen in Season 1.
And that's the thing, like, especially since Season 1 plays out over 12 months, and this says on the box in a week, I wonder if it actually is a follow-up of Season 1, or if this is more like
This is
your
what happens.
random loss of a pandemic game.
Yeah. This is what happens. This is what happens after, like 3 generations
Yeah.
later, after you lost that one game of Pandemic that was really hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to play, because that was my first thing when I was reading it. It didn't actually, even to me on the back, sound like it was a sequel to Season 1. It sounded like it was a sequel to some other random outbreak that wrecked humanity.
It seems like everything's going to be more ocean-based. Build your own character, very post-apocalyptic.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. The building your own character. Yeah.
It seems like there's only going to be 4 characters.
I don't.
There's some details on the back of the. It only comes with 4 pawns, I guess. But that.
They're 8
Yeah, I guess it all comes with
8
4.
character sheets, it said.
Oh, okay.
Jacksonville is a city that's shown on the starting board, because on the back of it, it shows like an outline of the map that's first available before you branch out and explore, and Jacksonville's on there, which some people were like, holy shit, Jacksonville's in a game. Jacksonville's never in a game.
Yeah,
So.
I guess it's about like humanity had to escape into the ocean, and all of these ocean havens, which are kind of like ocean cities, are now like supplying coastal cities and trying to keep humanity alive.
And they say that over the years, they've lost touch with more and more inland things, and now they're sending out a scouting party to venture into the dark.
That's
and
you.
What you got.
Yep.
So
That's really all there is. There's some more little details and stuff on there.
And that's pretty much all I need to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I just needed to know existed. I liked Season 1
Yeah.
enough that I'm on.
They called the boxes yellow and gray, not red and blue, even though they're kind of red and blue.
Yeah.
So, but both boxes will be identical as is Season 1, as it says on the back of Season 2.
Right on. So
Cool.
that's our new details on Season 2 of Pandemic Legacy.
Yep.
Next.
That's it for news.
There we go.
That's it.
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. We're going to start with Black Orchestra.
I know nothing about Black Orchestra, so you guys are going to have to fill me in on this one.
It's a cooperative historical game. Basically, you're trying to kill Hitler.
So I lied. Somebody had this at game night.
Yes. I think this is a...
Yeah.
New edition.
Yes.
That's right.
Paul played this.
Yeah. So this one actually, now that I remember what it is, it looked really good on the table. It was at D-Bolt, 3-4 weeks ago. And
It's a cooperative game. I've heard the people that have played it have liked it. And so the second edition is going to have basically a bunch of new components, or upgraded components rather. And then just more, the rule book's better apparently. And they're just, interrogation is apparently, it has enhanced interrogation. So, but I do like that they do offer a upgrade pack of just $9. So if you have the first one, just pay $9 and you can get all the upgraded stuff.
awesome.
I always love it when they do that.
Cool.
And it's like $49 for the main game, so that's not that bad.
It's a
mean, yeah.
pretty well received game.
Yeah.
It's got dice. Ooh.
And I know it was Mike who was playing it, and then they, him and his friend who were playing it, they both seemed to really like it, and they said it's a fun game. So
Cool.
I would be interested in at least trying it out at some point and maybe jumping on the Kickstarter if I have a chance.
That one's got about a week to go and $80K out of an $18K goal. So
Yep.
it
Well
is happening.
funded.
And it's a game that exists already and has, so
Yeah.
super easy.
Right on. What's next?
The Champions of Midgard expansion.
Yes. Well, the expansions, because it's actually 2 for 1.
Yes. And so Champions of Midgard, I've heard described as kind of more of a Viking, Norse-esque Lords of Waterdeep, and a little bit maybe better game. Meteor.
For me, it would be. Not for you, because there's dice.
I don't hate all dice.
This type of dice rolling you wouldn't like.
Okay.
In fact, you're going to fight stuff and you have to roll dice to see if you succeed. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But for me, this one sounds interesting. I like the art on it a lot. I like the theme. I like that you are trying to, build up your guys and then going out and fighting monsters and stuff like that. And in fact, like if you don't fight certain monsters, you get shame tokens, I think they're called, for not fighting them.
Okay. How mitigatable is the dice rolls?
I mean, in the sense that there's different types of dice.
So you build up your character so that maybe you succeed more often at dice rolls?
Well, so it's not as much like the dice roll is dice roll, but how many dice you can throw at it will help you. And different types of dice are better at certain things. So there is ways to. It's not just like 1 to 6, but you can't just have shitty luck if you try and be risky.
So keep in mind, as you say, oh, it has dice rolling, you're going to hate it. I still really like Zombicide. I don't get at the table as much. There's other games I'm more interested in. I don't hate Zombicide. I have no problem with Zombicide.
Maybe you'd like this,
Zombicide.
But you're going to do an action and then you have to roll to see if you succeed. Yeah. Usually you don't like that.
Usually not. You're right. I certainly have to be in the right mindset going into that game where I'm not putting much stock in the outcome.
Yes. But anyway, these expansions... it looks like it just adds a whole bunch more stuff. It adds like new types of dice, archers, which seems pretty cool. New boards, new ships, like leader ability boards and stuff like that. Maybe you can have everybody can have their own unique stuff, which is always good.
Cool.
But what I really like is the second expansion adds three more types of dice.
Wow, right on.
But
Berserker dice.
Yes, but I like that if you get both of them, it actually comes with an exclusive board or box that can fit all the base game and both expansions.
Pretty nice.
Even when they're fully sleeved.
That's awesome.
They'll even sell you the sleeves.
Yep.
And then they will also sell you the first game and all the promos and upgrades.
So if you've played Champions of Midgard and you're regretting not getting in on it earlier, you can now jump in and get the whole experience.
Yeah, it was like $100. I think it was $96 or $98 for everything except the sleeves, including shipping.
That's not bad.
And then even the sleeves
are $8.
Yep, and you only need 2 sets of sleeves for
you need 4 of the regular size and then 2 of the mini size.
Oh, gotcha. Enough sleeves for every card in the base game and expansions is only $16.50.
That's it's $8. But it's suggested retail price is $16.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. So check that out. Well funded already. And
yes, definitely.
200%.
Yep.
3 weeks left on that.
One of the stretch goals was adding the Viking meeples. So
cool.
Yep.
Everyone needs Viking meeples.
Better meeples are always a plus.
Well, and then just one last thing, is that they did a poll on the 5th color.
Yeah.
Which they did purple, but apparently are having some problem. Like some colorblind people didn't like that as much.
Okay.
And so they're like, well, we're also going to do black ones then, so you can get 6.
Oh.
And you have a choice. So I think that's really cool that they listen to people. So
that is always nice when Kickstarters respond to customer feedback.
Yes,
indeed.
So
that's all. Yeah, that's it.
And then Adrian has to talk about Tramways.
So I don't really have much to talk about it. It's I still think a fantastic game. It's, as has been described in multiple places, it's a game. So if you love train games but you don't want to play a train game, like it's more Euro than train game. But if you love train games and don't want to play a 5-hour train game, Tramways takes like a couple hours. I'm currently just madly in love with this game. I've really enjoyed every play I've had of Tramways. The current Kickstarter has 2 expansion maps, Paris and New York, that have some unique stuff. The normal base game, the maps are modular. These 2, both Paris and New York, are full maps that you just plop down and they are what they are. But they have some unique features that can affect gameplay and how you approach them. But it's a great game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of a handful of finalists for Heavy Game of the Year. The prestigious Golden Elephant. I don't know how much anybody cares about the Golden Elephant that's not already a Heavy Cardboard listener. myself, I like it. It's the reason I want to get Madeira and Arkwright. And
I mean, anytime those games have like Dice Tower Seal of Excellence and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh, what's that about? No, yeah. Anytime it gets an award, it means, oh, it's probably good. At least somebody thinks it's good.
Yep.
So maybe I should look into it.
So it was unfortunately 2016 wasn't a great year for super heavy games. There's the Colonists, there's Tramways, and there was a new 18XX. And so of those three options, I love Colonists and I love Tramways, and I have not played and don't have a huge interest in 18XX. That's too much along the train game track for me.
There's a limit, Jeff.
There is a limit. There is a hard limit.
We can pull them back.
Now, we'll see. Come HeavyCon in May, I am willing to try any game once. And so who knows? Maybe I'll try a beginner game of 18XX and just fall further down.
We've seen the cracks in the armor.
So we'll see. But no, Tramways is fantastic. There's like 8 days, I think, at the time of recording. So there'll be like 6 days, about a week when we release. It's well funded. It's going to happen. Albin Viard is a fantastic designer of heavier, thinky games. So if that's your style, check it out. All right.
All right.
So that wraps up Kickstarter and news. So for the review tonight, we are going to be covering Seven Wonders Duel. It is a 2015 release from designer Anton Boaza and Bruno Cathala, artist Miguel Coimbra. It was published by Repost Production. It plays 2 players and takes about 30 minutes to play. Zach, do you have a rules rundown for this?
Yes, I do. So this drafting game has you and another player competing to build the best civilization over 3 ages. Every age will have a different setup of face-down and face-up cards that you will be picking from. On your turn, you can acquire a card using resources either produced or bought. You can also sell a card, and you will be getting more money for having additional markets in your tableau. And you can also use that card to build a wonder. In addition, there is a military track that can spell instant defeat if the marker reaches the end of your side, or instant victory if it reaches the end of your opponent's side. There is also science cards that have symbols, allowing you to gain benefits via progress tokens, or allow a victory if 6 different symbols are collected. If you reach the end of age 3 with no military or science victory, count up all your points, and whoever has the most is the victor.
Right on. So Seven Wonders Duel, it's a pretty simple little 2-player game. This is part of an ongoing kind of series that we've been working around here at the MHGG podcast. Essentially, we're looking at games that have different versions of the same game. The first one we did was Race for the Galaxy versus Roll for the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. This one's a little bit different in that Duel isn't so much a dice version or slightly different version of Seven Wonders as it's a 2-player version. So we'll reference Seven Wonders a fair amount, but we're not going to include it fully in this review.
Yeah, think of it more like the Manhattan Project Energy Empire.
Correct.
Where we'll compare it, but we won't be like, here's one, here's the other, and then here's actual comparisons.
Correct. So Seven Wonders Duel. We just a few weeks ago, did our 2-player episode. This would have been a great game for that, as it's a 2-player game, and I think it fits right along with kind of the Santorini patchwork type of relatively short, thinky 2-player games.
I think we ended up not choosing that one just because we wanted to go we found 3 abstract ones that sort of work together.
Yeah, and this one's not abstract.
No. And so we were just like, we can just do it as its own thing, especially because the expansion was coming out.
Yep.
And we thought that could actually add some depth to it. So
correct. So now you know the inner workings of our minds on this particular game.
Gross.
So real quick, before we dive right into the meat of this review, what are you guys' kind of just initial feelings on Seven Wonders Duel?
There's a reason it's in top 12? Number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7 on Board Game Geek. Because it's a real, I don't know. I don't want to call it simplified. It's distilled down to its essence of what makes Seven Wonders awesome.
Yeah, so it's distinctly lacking the drafting aspect. It's kind of simulated by the way that what you take.
It's an open draft more than an actual hand-in draft.
That's a fair, yeah. So it's a slightly different version. I feel it still captures a lot of the same thought process. Like if I take this, my opponent can get that. Kind of thing. There's it's good. I agree. There's a reason it's highly rated on BGG. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that's great is when you first open the box too. Everything. The insert on it is great because everything is fit in a very specific place. Everything folds that it is right to the top of that box. And you know where everything goes.
A place for everything and everything in its place.
Exactly.
People who like organization will appreciate the insert for this game.
Yes, and the expansion too.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, then let's dive into this here a little bit. Components. They're solid.
Yeah, the cards are small but good.
Yeah.
Like
Mini cards.
yeah, mini cards. They're good quality. They're easy to read. The military track token. I like how that looks.
It's a little 3D printed shield thing that moves right along. The cardboard track that contains both the military track and the spaces for the progress tokens is good, thick cardboard that has a nice, like, they actually put a crease in it so it folds nicely to fit in a small box, but it doesn't affect the actual board when you're playing and putting things on it. It's not like, it doesn't mess with it. Things don't get caught on it or anything like that. I haven't noticed any issues. Like your copy, Jeff, is the only copy I think I've played. None of that cardboard's warping.
Nope.
No.
Like it's all
Which is nice for once.
yeah. Here in Denver, cardboard warps a lot.
It does.
So
But the cardboard money is fine. It's money.
yeah,
so.
I mean, it's the same money from Seven Wonders. It's
Exactly.
the punch out
Yeah.
kind of thick cardboard, easily distinguishable.
I think the main thing is like looking at that, you're like, that looks like Seven Wonders, but like the cards look like Seven Wonders cards. They're just smaller.
Yep.
So yeah,
They use a lot of the same symbols and
the Wonders are the same size.
Yep.
And then I think it's a good. It's the components are good. Like they are of similar quality as Seven Wonders. So
I would agree.
yeah.
Jeff, anything to add?
Pretty much.
Right on. All right. Rules and rules explanation. So go ahead, Jeff.
So I could see this game being harder to learn for someone that has never played Seven Wonders. Just because there is a lot of iconography.
Iconography. You almost got it.
Almost there.
See, I was going to say the exact opposite. I was going to say I think that this is a great way to introduce somebody in a shorter, simpler game, the iconography for Seven Wonders.
I would say that it. Well, okay. You give your reason first, and then
There's less here to learn because there's just kind of less stuff than a regular Seven Wonders game. But like learning all of what the little different symbols mean, and then here's a pyramid with a question mark in the bottom left. Here's a pyramid with a coin. What are the differences between all of these things? And it's that little bit of minutia that I find easier to learn in this one because there's not the bulk of like, here's 7 cards. Good luck drafting one of them.
oh, so you're saying this one is easier?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that the
it's
exact
not- I
opposite?
thought
That
you
is
said-
the exact opposite of what you said.
yeah.
All Seven Wonders games have that problem.
Yes.
This is easier because there's less of it.
Okay. And
So then I agree.
we agree too.
Okay.
so we all three agree. Oh my gosh, the world's going to end.
Yeah. But I
And I said it
specifically
in a real dumb way.
you did. Specifically, it's because the cards are open. So you can be like, that's what this card means. It's not like you said, here's 7 cards. I hope you figure out which is the good one of these.
Yeah.
You can just be like, oh, so this does this does this, and this does this. And they're like, okay, I will choose this one. And then if they have questions, you can answer it immediately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same with all the progress tokens. Everything is open information.
Yeah.
So
Right. So I think this would be a great way in a short amount of time, 20 to 30 minutes ish, maybe a little more if it's somebody who's never played any Seven Wonders to explain all that iconography. But it's a great way to give them the basics behind how the resources work in Seven Wonders. That you play down certain cards that are permanent resources for you to use later. The concept of if you build a card in the first era, you can build a card that's related to it for free in the second era through the related symbols. The military is a little bit different in this one. I don't think it really prepares you for how the military works in regular Seven Wonders. And same with the science. It's a little different.
I like how Rado described it, is that the game feels more like a knife fight.
Yes.
Because the military, because in Seven Wonders, someone has more military, they get more points, whatever. If I have more military than you in this, I can just win. Just straight up kill you.
My first time playing this months ago was playing against Renee, and she was smoking me in everything. But she somehow got distracted and wasn't paying attention to the military track. And I moved up, and I moved up, and I moved up. And then if she had looked over and saw that I was like 1 away from winning, she probably would have blocked the 1 military card that was on the table. But she didn't, and I took it, and I was like, so that means I win, right? She was like, oh, damn it. So, I was getting housed, but I was able to sneak out a military victory, which some people might not like. They might feel like, oh, you can.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the same time, it's all open information. You can look right at the military track and be like, oh, they're kind of creeping up. I might want to focus on slowing that down a bit.
Yeah. I do like how, like you said, the military and the science both have those tracks where you can be like, if I don't get this, they're going to win. So it forces you into those situations. You're like, this is the only, this is a shitty card for me, but I need to take this. So
we're in gameplay now.
Yeah.
Obviously, this game is really all this kind of transitions well together. To close out on the rules thing, it's an easier version to teach. The rules, there's no real confusing things.
Well, and then also that the rule book just explains every symbol in there, so that's good.
And it's 1-to-1 almost to like actually learning regular Seven Wonders because it's all the same symbols.
Yep.
So back to gameplay now. It plays really smooth. Even with I've taught it to a couple different people, and after a couple one or two little turns here, like I'm buying a card, I'm doing this, then they get rolling. And there might be like
there's 3 things you can do in this game.
Yep. And that card is involved in all of them. So
yeah, you pull a card off the stack for all. And the cool thing that I really like about this game, gameplay wise, is each era is a different configuration of the cards that are down there. So the first era, you start off with a pyramid where all of the bottom row, the wide part of the pyramid, is available. Or triangle, really, because it's not 3D.
Yeah.
But the bottom part is what's available. And then the next row's flipped face down, and you don't see those until both the cards on it are removed, and then you flip it. And then it keeps getting smaller until the very end card is a solo card. And you play through, and then once all those are gone, you switch over to the second era, and you build a pyramid the other way. So there's 1 card available at the very... 2, I think they stop at. Yeah, so 2 are available at the very bottom. And then it builds up to the big top of the thing, so it gets wider as you go on the second one. And then the third era is like this weird box with a open spot in the center where there's not a card. And so each era plays a little different. It doesn't feel like you played the same era 3 times.
Yeah.
I have no opinions on. You've explained 100% how that works.
I like that.
The only tricky part about teaching someone the game for the gameplay wise is like how you get money. Like money's super important.
Yes,
money can like. You pulled that I've taken my second action and I have 2 wonders built already and like 12 money.
So that actually brings up something. I like how they did it in this one, is that when you you can buy the resources. You buy them from the bank instead, because you used to have to buy it from your neighbors.
Yes.
And obviously you can't do it in this knife fight of a game, because I'm not going to give you any money ever. Why would I ever do that? So you're paying the bank, but if, say, I need stone and Jeff's producing 1 stone, instead of costing 2 like normal, it costs me 3 to buy, because he's making the stone, so it has to like the bank and then to him.
Yes.
And if he has 2 stone, then it costs 4. So I really like that sort of denial, that if I just buy a lot of stone, Jeff's like, oh, I can't build anything with stone now.
Well, and then there's market buildings that just make that cost 1 per stone.
Exactly. And then I like that they have those outs as well, because you can't just corner somebody, but you can't easily corner somebody, but you can.
Yeah. Well, it incentivizes you to pick certain cards. Like if I notice that you've got 3 stone and I don't have any, and there's a stone that's available for me, I know that I probably want to get that, because I want to have at least 1 stone available to use. And so it kind of guides you. Like it's like you said, a knife fight's a great example. Like whatever your opponent does is going to somehow affect what you do next. Whether it's they take a card that reveals a new one and you're like, oh, well, I want that one. Or whether you're like, man, I know they want this card, so I kind of want to burn it for money so they can't get it. But then that would reveal this other card that might be good. Like you're very involved with what's going on with your opponent. And because it is all very open information, you can look right at what they have laid out in front of them and have a good idea of what they're going for and what they're working towards.
Fingers crossed that last science symbol you need doesn't flip over when I take this card.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, it got discarded and you couldn't win with that anyways. Ha ha.
Yep. But no, it's very tight in that regards.
Yeah, I don't think I've had a non-tight game of that yet.
I do like what you were saying, Zach. So you talked about in regular Seven Wonders, you pay your opponents for the goods you want to use. I like that one of the progress tokens basically reinstitutes that. We're like, oh, I got this progress token. Now when you buy resources, you do pay me.
Yeah.
So, because then inevitably when somebody gets that, the other guy's like, well, fuck it, I'm not buying resources anymore.
Yep.
And they completely changes how they play the remaining part of that game.
Yeah, I think it was actually the game You and Me. You bought that, and I was like, I'm just not going to buy resources.
I think you bought 2 resources the rest of the game.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just going to produce stuff then.
I wish progress tokens were easier to get. Sometimes it seems matching those science symbols to draw them because they can be big game changers.
Yeah,
Make things more interesting.
And then especially because you take 3 cards out at the beginning of each era.
Yeah.
So realistically, you could just that one matching one just never comes up.
Yep.
Well, and then because the winning condition for the science cards is to get 6 different ones, whereas it's every pair you get a progress token.
Yep.
So a lot of times it'd be like, well, I could get the progress token, or I could keep working towards that science victory, and you kind of got to make a decision, and whatever one you don't choose, your opponent's going to take because he doesn't want you to have both of them.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's tight.
Yeah.
The gameplay plays really tight, and that's the nice thing is it plays tight, but it plays pretty quick.
It does.
It goes.
I also like that everybody starts with 4 wonders. So you start with 8 wonders, but only 7 of them can be built.
Yeah.
And then, some of us can start with 4 wonders and then build 5 wonders because they just steal from someone.
Was that only with the expansion
That was
card?
with the expansion, though, but yeah.
So one of my favorite things that has happened only once in a game I've played, and at first it made me so mad, but then I managed to still win, and so everything was okay. But
The classic Adrian Gambit.
Classic Adrian. Although I didn't get actually like upset
No, I
and
know.
ruin the game by
I know.
getting sulky. Like I was like, holy shit, that's a thing you can do now.
Yep.
That's kind of cool. But anyway, so you start the game off with your wonders, and most wonders cost like 4 or 5 goods, and you can buy a good for 2 money a good. So it costs 8 to 10, and you start with what 7?
You start with 7. Yeah.
So you're really close to being able to buy 8 or 5 or 8 to 10 price. And so we were playing a game. I took a card, and Zach was like, I'm going to sell this card. And then I took my turn. I was like, okay, whatever. And then he was like, and I'm going to build this wonder. It gives me another turn and gives me 10 gold. I'm going to use that 10 gold to buy the resources for this other wonder that gives me another turn and 6 gold. I'm going to spend that and build this third wonder. And it gives me another turn, but I'm going to do something else. And so he built 3 wonders in like his second turn of the game. And it was like, that's a thing you can do.
But unfortunately, for the most part, they just give you more money. Like it locks up those wonders, and it's like, oh, if I get, if I see things that are like, whatever wonders you completed, you get this amount of stuff. You're like, oh, cool, then it's definitely for me. But it helped me a lot playing Jeff, but it did not help me at the end with you.
Yeah, so it's a little bit, because especially the wonders that give you the extra turn tend to not give you a lot of points or other things, because chaining turns is powerful enough on its own.
Yeah. It's just a good mind fucked.
Because it was like oh my god.
You have so many wonders.
And then where you can only build 7. So the fact you built 3 right out the gate, it was like, it's going to be really hard for me to build all 4 of mine before you build that 4th one of yours.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a
nice little game. Mm-hmm. So just because I do want to touch on a little bit of 7 Wonders stuff. So I like 7 Wonders Duel, and I like 7 Wonders. I don't know which one I like more.
7 Wonders Duel.
For both of you. So I for one, I haven't played 7 Wonders in a long time. I really wanted to play it again before this review, but I just couldn't get a chance.
Someone
to get
couldn't
it
find his
table.
copy.
Somebody lost their copy. No, but even that shouldn't matter. We have tons of friends that have 7 Wonders.
Yeah,
it's not one I own, but I just couldn't make it happen.
Because we're lazy.
Played a lot of Duel, though.
Yeah,
played a lot of Duel. I am a little concerned. So base game Duel, I feel, starts to feel samey after 4, 5, 6 plays.
I 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because 7 Wonders, it's the same game, but it's always like, I feel like I'm always doing something different. Like I'm going science, I'm going military, I'm going blue buildings, I'm going like, there's a lot of different paths to victory in regular 7 Wonders, which is fitting for a game that can play 7 or 8 people. You got to have different paths. Whereas Duel, it seems like I'm always doing a little bit of everything with maybe a slight focus. And that starts to feel, there's not enough variety. You take 3 cards out of each era, that's not enough variety, I think, to really sustain it on a long-term time scale.
And so for me, one thing for player interaction, like 7 Wonders Duel has that in spades over 7 Wonders, because no matter what in 7 Wonders, you're playing with 3 people. Like, you're playing with your neighbors, and then everybody else is just sort of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Are drafting cards that you can't draft.
Exactly, yeah. That's the only way they can really affect you.
Yeah.
And so I like that, like you said, every time you do your opponent does something that directly affects you, and every time you do something that directly affects your opponent.
Yes, I do really like that. I think so. This would probably be a pretty good segue because I just complained that regular Duel starts to feel samey. It has an expansion.
It does. Pantheon. Which costs almost as much as the base game.
Yeah, like the game is, you can get the base game for like $25, and then the expansion's like $25.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's got a lot of more unique stuff in it, and it's just a board and big god cards.
It's definitely
and
more expensive than it needs to be.
temples.
I don't think it's much more. I think that Duel is cheaper than it needs to be, and so the expansion is correctly priced. I think they could probably get away with selling Duel a little bit more than they do.
Yeah.
The expansion has another big fold-out cardboard board.
Because it introduces gods.
Yep, it has a huge deck of cards, and it clearly was something that was well thought out and it's not a tacked on expansion. It was well thought out and well integrated.
It literally is tacked on, but not not metaphorically.
It literally fits onto the cardboard board. So there was a lot of good design thought that went into it. And so I think that it's reasonable that it is almost as much as the base game, because I feel like it expands the base game significantly.
Well, because at the very least, on the second and third age, it gives you a fourth action where you don't have to take one of those cards.
Yep.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Because there are many times and one of my problems with Seven Wonders Duel is that you can get trapped. Like, if you may not realize it, but you get trapped in a pattern of you can only buy things that you don't want, and your opponent gets the things that he wants, and you really can't stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm torn whether some of that is set up by good play by your opponent. Like, because I've been trapped on both sides of that.
Yeah.
Like, there's been times I've been like, oh, wait, if I do this, they have to do that, which then lets me do. And I'm like, ooh, well, I feel like I did something clever because I forced them into that. But then on the other side of it, it's like, you got lucky, you son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. So I do like, it does break that cycle. I really like, so the expansion, essentially, let's explain what it adds.
I guess.
Maybe.
So there are like 5 new tokens down. There's 4 different pantheons.
There are...
Is it 5?
It's 5 different ones.
5 different
one
pantheons, 3 different gods in each one. There's like Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Asian...
Mesopotamia. I don't know.
Bob knew them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was playing with Bob, and he came by and he looked at them. He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm not a history major, and so,
and I'm not nearly a random facts buff like Bob.
Yes,
we should have had Bob on the show.
So as you take the cards that have those tokens on them, or flip,
it's when you reveal the card.
When you whoever reveals it gets to take that token and gets to choose a god, and then they get to like place it. And then it becomes more or less expensive depending on where you put it on this, I don't know, crown of Mount.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So just to clarify.
Mount whatever, yes.
So just to clarify
Olympus.
a little bit.
But they're not all Greek gods, though.
Yeah.
No.
So to clarify a little bit.
Cloud area.
On that initial pyramid of cards that you lay out, on some of the ones that are face down, on the first round, you lay down 5 tokens that relate to the 5 pantheons, and there's a variety. There's more than 5 tokens, so it's not always the same one.
There's 10 different, so I think you can have a
you,
crazy.
You lay them face up, so at the start of the game.
Yeah, well,
I messed this up.
You randomize them, and then you put them face up.
Yeah. So I messed this up because we put them all face down, and it wasn't until you revealed the card, and then you revealed like, oh shit, it's this pantheon.
Oh yeah.
We messed that up when I played. But you randomize them, you lay 5 of them out face up on the face down cards. And when that card flips, whoever was responsible for flipping it gets the Pantheon token, which is kind of nice because a lot of times in Seven Wonders Duel base game, revealing a card so that a new one flips is a bad thing because all of a sudden you don't know what that card is, but your opponent has first chance to buy it if it's good. And so now it makes it to where if you reveal the card with the thing on it, you at least get a benefit, and then your opponent might get a really good card. So it kind of balances that little bit of an issue. And then those tokens relate to one of those 5 pantheons. And when you get them, like Jeff said, you get to look at one of the 2. And then this is the folding cardboard thing. It wraps around. It's the cool crown. Everything that he just said.
Cloud.
Cloud.
That's where the gods live. All of them.
Yep.
Okay, I'll buy that. And so the one that's closest to you, because this player board, it's got the tug of war for the military that comes towards you or towards your opponent, and the crown attaches to the side of that. And the spaces closest to you cost significantly less. Like it's like 3 to you, 8 to your
12,
opponent.
No, 3, 8,
3, 8,
4, 7, and then 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the center one is even?
No, it's 5, 6, 6, 5.
There's
There's six spots.
So 3 and 3.
Yep. Okay. And so you go through and you get those 5 tokens and place those. But like Zach just said, there's 6 spots. And that final spot that's open, there's a card that goes there.
The gate.
And that one is kind of cool. It costs double whatever is printed on the slot it goes into. But you get to pick one of the other Pantheon cards that are available, flip it up, and take that action.
What it is, you flip one from each of the 5 ones.
Oh, and then you get to pick.
You get to pick one. But yeah, so what's nice about that is because if you grab a Pantheon one that doesn't work, like if it's, you get to, buy your wonders cheaper or whatever, and you've built all your wonders, you'd be like, oh, I'll just make it, or your opponent has built all his wonders, and it's like, I'm going to make it super cheap for him to do that card that is useless to him. But if you get one that's really good for you, like, oh, I'm going to make it super cheap for me. And so there's a little bit of a placement aspect there that I like.
Yeah.
Because you can bone someone else or
Exactly.
something super easy for you.
And it fits right with that kind of idea of the game. It's the knife fight. It's a knife fight in a phone booth. Like everything you do is going to affect your opponent. It's going to be brutal. You're going to...
What a dated reference.
What, knife fight in a phone booth?
Phone booths.
Well, I mean, Kiefer was pretty good in that movie.
Yes, he was. That was a great movie. But
it continues that kind of knife fight in a phone booth interaction of Seven Wonders Duel. So I think it fits great. It adds a little bit more options and length. It is a little bit longer if you play with it.
But maybe a little more fulfilling.
And I feel it adds a lot more variety. Like it feels like there's a lot more differences between plays with the expansion than without.
Zach gets every single token.
Yeah, that's true. I would say the only thing I don't like about it is that it gets rid of the guilds from the first one.
Because now you have temples, and temples are a little more basic.
It's just basically...
How many temples do you have?
And you get more points based off of it.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with you there. I wish there was a way to combine. Like, I almost wish that it had been like, all right, in the third era, toss 6 cards, add 3 temples and 3 guilds.
But then
you could house rule.
But then the balance of how many era 3 cards you have might
be fucked.
Yeah,
I don't know. I do wish there was some kind of an option to mix that up a
Temples
bit.
seem kind of boring.
Yeah,
I agree. They're essentially that you put 3 temples in, and if you get 1 temple, it's 5 points. If you get 2, it's 12, and if you get 3, it's like 21.
Yeah.
So it ramps way up, and there's times because the way you randomize the decks and deal them out, like it happened to you, Zach, in the game against Jeff. It was physically impossible for you to stop him from getting all 3.
No,
yours was the one where you got lucky and were able to. They were in a pyramid, so
it was
nobody could get all 3.
Yeah, nobody. I mean,
for anyone to get all 3,
unless someone just was like, nah, I don't want to worry about those.
I don't want to win.
Right. Yeah. So it was our game where, because again, kind of you get trapped in I have to do something, and then my opponent gets something good. I was like, if I take this, then Zach has to take that, which lets me get that temple, and then he has to do that, which lets me get that temple, which lets me get that temple. Yep. And so I got all 3 of them, and that ended up being, that was the game where you did your cool wonder beginning, and the temples were what won me the game in the end.
Exactly.
So,
because he also got like 50 points from blues things.
Yeah, I did get a lot of blue points.
Yeah,
but that was about it. So
yeah. So that is a weakness to the expansion, is the way it replaces the guild cards with something that is more basic and can potentially, with a unlucky distribution, hurt you.
Have we talked at all about what the god cards do?
No.
Okay.
They just basically
bonuses.
They're bonuses. They do some.
Here's a bunch of victory points. Here's a bunch of money. Here's just extra.
Each one of them
they're
is
sort of themed in the sense
each set of gods. So like the Roman gods are tend to be more war themed and advance the. They're also the red cards, which advance the military stuff
and
more.
The Egyptian ones are green. I think more science based or wonder based even.
Yep.
So they're roughly tied to a specific component of the main game.
Yeah.
And you only know which ones you placed, and someone else could have placed the other ones, and so you just sort of buy them and been like.
Because you place them in those slots face down.
Yep.
And then at the start of the second round, you reveal them all. And it's like, oh, shit. My opponent put something really crummy in that spot. That does me no good. Or, oh, they got a great card in their 3 spot that's going to cost me 8 to use.
Because you can always take that.
Yeah, you can still, even if it's the cheapest one for them and most expensive for you, if you have 8 money, you're like, I don't want you to have that. If it's the 12 money one, you're going to be like, I'll spend 8 money to get 12 money.
Yep.
Versus you spending 3 money to get 12 money. Yeah. So.
Another law symbol, which is only available in the progression tokens.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of covers
I think it definitely adds a lot to the game.
I do too. I would almost say for long-term purposes, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't need it. You don't need it to begin with, but otherwise it's going to start getting boring.
Yep. So, I don't say like buy it right away. Like if you're interested in these games, get Duel, play it a couple times. If it's a game you like and want to keep playing more, get the expansion.
And I think if you liked Seven Wonders, you'll like this.
I agree.
I don't think there's anything you can say about Duel that is like worse than Seven Wonders.
Yeah.
No.
Have you played any expansions for Seven Wonders?
No.
Okay.
Cities and leaders and all that stuff.
And Babel?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So we have no...
Seven Wonders expansion.
Yeah, we have no
experience.
knowledge on those. But we're just talking about base.
Base.
Yeah.
So...
But Seven Wonders itself is a good game.
I do like it. It's a good introduction to drafting and drafting.
Icons.
And
iconography, yeah.
But
Yeah.
all right. Well, that pretty much wraps up our quick little review of Seven Wonders Duel.
We all like it. We like
do
it
like
better with the expansion.
Yep, I agree.
Do we like it more than... Does it replace Seven Wonders?
No.
It's two, like, only if you're playing Seven Wonders 2-player.
And
Yeah.
which
Then
you
yes.
shouldn't be doing anyway.
Rado actually likes that one more than
Really?
Well, once again, this one's too much of a knife fight for him.
Yeah.
But there's definitely room for both, and I would say they sort of complement each other. It's like
I would agree.
play Seven Wonders, but I only have one person, do Duel. If you have more than one person, do Seven Wonders.
Yeah.
So
100% agree. So yeah, that wraps up, I think, our coverage of those two games.
I mean, specifically,
specifically of Duel, a little bit of a touching on Seven Wonders.
yeah.
If somebody really wants us to go in depth on Seven Wonders, let us know somewhere on our social media, and we will. We're willing to dive into some Seven Wonders.
Copy.
Yeah.
Find Jeff a new copy. Yeah, but yeah, we all like it. It's a good game. It is totally available right now. Amazon,
Anywhere and
CSI.
everywhere.
Yep.
Expansion's available too.
Yeah.
So
shouldn't have any problem finding those. If it sounds interesting and you like Seven Wonders, or you're looking for a pretty solid 2-player game, go check it out. Moving on from the review, we had a giveaway over the last 2 weeks.
yeah, we had another contest.
Yeah, our second
Yeah,
contest.
to celebrate. What arbitrary number was that again?
5,280 downloads.
Which we have already surpassed like a lot.
Oh, yeah. It was the same way when we did the 1,000 download one. It was like we announced it when it hit 1,000. So it hit 1,000 and we're like, on the next episode, we should give away a game. And
I think it was you who said that.
it was 100% in that exact
really
tone of
stupid voice. Yeah,
both times.
yes, it was.
But it was the same thing. Like by the time the contest ended, it was like, we've doubled that.
Well, we haven't doubled. We haven't doubled it yet.
No.
It is not quite a parabolic curve
No.
in our downloads.
It's
but
doubling every...
Yep.
And it's like, oh God, please stop.
never. But yeah, so for the last 2 weeks, we've been running this giveaway, and it was easy to enter, and it was easy to enter multiple times because we were accepting things on BGG, email, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Plenty of ways to enter, and we got significantly more entries than we did for our first one. Our first one, it was like, we can roll 1 die for this. This time we made a table, and we're going to roll 2 die.
We need help from math.
No, we're good for now. Next one, though, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, so like I
Dice.
said, we made a nice little table with all of the entries, and we found 2 dice to represent the row and the column. So we're going to roll 2 dice, and we will see who comes up in this little thing.
Who's the lucky winner?
Who is the lucky winner?
Yeah.
So,
The winner is you.
all right, so here comes the roll. All right, and the lucky winner is Alan Wiggs from Facebook.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
So congratulations,
Hooray!
Alan. We will be getting in touch with you on Wednesday after the episode technically releases because we don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
We can't spoil it. But we will get in touch with you. We will organize shipping you your brand new copy of Imperial Settlers.
Yeah, and I believe he was one of the couple people that entered in multiple times, showing that doing it multiple times can pay off.
Sure.
So do that in the future,
Sure.
No reason not to.
people.
Certainly no reason not to. Make us have a bigger column or have to figure out some other way to generate a larger number of randomness.
Adrian's ego can only go up.
Well, I mean, it could go down. It would just be hard at this point. I don't know.
the next fan is just like, hey, you suck.
The best thing about Mile High Game Guys is when Adrian shuts up.
Ooh. Yep.
Eh,
I don't think that's true.
he does have to schedule us where to play board game nights at.
Yeah.
He can talk during those times only.
Oh. So yeah, we got a bunch of feedback through this. Some of it was super constructive. Some of it was kind of just goofy stuff. Apparently people don't like sports ball.
Shocking.
No one does.
Slash
Unless
shock.
it involves blood.
But we want to address a lot of things here, and we try to address them as they came in, but we're going to also address them on air for other people who might not have seen these recommendations.
Yeah.
We're just going to kind of spatter them in the next few episodes as we have time. One of the ones we wanted to get for this episode comes from the Healthy Meeple on Twitter, at Healthy Meeple, and they asked at Mile High Game Guys, hey, do y'all ever find any quality games ever at thrift stores out there? And so, Zach, you had some...
I've definitely gone to thrift stores on occasion looking. The closest thing I ever found was a box of Risk Legacy for $5. And I was like, because everything is like, all the boxes were taped up, and I'm like, this seems like something I should open up to see what they've actually done. And I opened it up, and I just saw that like there were a bunch of empty boxes, and I was like, okay, basically someone finished their campaign or whatever, and they're like, here you go, you don't understand what this is. So
Here you go,
I have
70-year-old
found one,
man.
but it was unusable.
Sounds about right.
The only thrift store-esque is like Black and Red. They're used games.
Yeah.
I really like their used games.
They definitely have a thrift store vibe with their like record section and VHS and books and yada, yada, yada.
But like legit thrift stores, you just see like those Trivia Pursuits 90s editions. I just see a lot of those.
See, and I just never go into thrift stores, so I don't know. I see things like that like pop up on BGG and our board games, or somebody's like, I was at this gift store, thrift store, antique store, and there was this board game, it's Antiquity that's been out of print and is going for $200. And I got it for $10.
Yep.
It's nuts. I've never experienced anything even close to that.
I try and go to the ones that are near the rich people houses. Like find anything good for cheap here, but usually nothing. So
to answer your question, Thirsty Meeple, no.
No, Denver
we
does not have great thrift stores for board games.
Or we haven't found them.
Yes.
So But thank you so much to everybody who entered the contest. It was great getting all of the feedback.
Yes,
and
it was.
Even just hearing from a bunch of people. I got called out by one of the Twitter people. I joked last episode that somebody who'd entered on Twitter, I jumped over to their feed and it was just all board game stuff. And I kind of like joked about that on the show. And then they tweeted me back and they're like, yeah, I still like your show. I just also like free games. I was like, oh,
that felt great for me to see that.
Jeff and Zach love to see me eat a big helping of crow.
Yep.
But that was
That's how I get through my work week.
just seeing me make a fool of myself online. So, but no, thank you again. Yeah, everybody who entered, it was great seeing all that feedback, and everybody who helped pass along. Patrick, he retweeted about our entry. We got Portal Games retweeting stuff from it. A lot of people helped spread the word about the giveaway, and that was fantastic to see. It really made us feel good. So thank you everybody who took part. And we'll be doing another giveaway at some point in the future.
Indeed. Maybe,
we'll see how things go.
I don't know, 5280 times 2.
I would say probably for 1 year or something
just start
like that.
spam downloading our show if you want another giveaway real soon.
Those useless metrics.
Yep.
I think that pretty much closes everything out. Jeff, how can people get a hold of us if they want to share their feelings and thoughts and
Well,
stuff?
since 0 people entered through emails at milehighgameguys.com, we have none this week.
Yep.
We have Twitter.
At MHGameGuys.
I'm Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
We have Instagram and Facebook, both at Mile High Game Guys. And we have a Board Game Geek Guild. Guild number 2731 on BGG.
Yep.
And
If you jump over there and participate, join the guild. Subscribe so you see our posts. I'm going to start being better about posting a week in advance what our upcoming review is. So if you have questions or comments about the game we're reviewing, we can hopefully address those during the review. And want to be on top of that kind of stuff. So thank you for everybody who stuck with us this long and continues to be here episode after episode. We do really appreciate it. We're going to keep giving away games. We're going to keep trying to do what we can to give back to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll catch you all next week. Until then, as always, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Babylonian Jeff.
Bye.
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 No, I was going to say, or Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
Feel free to cut
There it
that
is.
out. Yeah.
Ding. There's our one Terraforming Mars
Exactly.
reference of the show.
If you want a real drafting game, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.